Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of JAZZIZ Essentials. This is a series where we take a look at songs, artists, and events that gave rise to the music that we know and love, jazz. I'm Matt Mikuchi, online editor of JAZZIZ, and on this episode, we're going to be taking a look at a somewhat forgotten moment, which occurred in 1930. And it was the meeting between the father of country music, Jimmie Rodgers, and the father of jazz music, Louis Armstrong. Let's go. Born in 1897, Jimmie Rodgers is often referred to as the father of country music. He was the son of an itinerant railway gang foreman and from an early age aspired to be an entertainer. At age 14, he quit school and began working on his father's railroad crew. There, he was exposed to a mix of musical styles that would influence his own music, including the work songs and early blues of African American laborers. After contracting tuberculosis in 1924, he was forced to give up railroad work and began to pursue a performing career full-time. 3 years later, his first recording, Sleep Baby Sleep, would kickstart an intense yet short-lived career comprising around 110 recordings, bookended by an emotional final piece titled Years Ago, recorded just 35 hours before tuberculosis got the better of him at age 35. The 13 songs he wrote and recorded for his Blue Yodel series are some of his best known. While they are based on the 12-bar blues format and feature his trademark yodel refrain, they also found him expanding on his own music, fusing it with several different styles and performing alongside varied groups including Hawaiian bands, Dixieland bands, and so on. One of the most notable of these recordings is from 1930, and it's Blue Yodel No. 9, also known as Standing on the Corner. It's notable, not least of all, because it features a young trumpeter named Louis Armstrong and his then-wife, Lil Hardin, on piano. Now, their names don't actually appear on the record, as the Armstrongs were both contracted by OK Records, and Blue Yodel No. 9 was made for Victor. Nevertheless, their style is very distinctive and they're easily recognizable. Louis at the time was defining the basic language of jazz and had set the world on fire with his Hot 5 and Hot 7s recordings during the previous decade. In 1924, he married Lil Hardin, whose impact on his artistic career was significant. It was Lil who encouraged Louis to develop his own distinctive style on the trumpet. And Hardin would become a pioneer in her own right as one of the first acclaimed women band leaders in jazz history. Rodgers and the Armstrong convened in a recording studio in 1930, shortly after the Armstrong had moved to the West Coast. Louis was eager to get any work he could find there, and Blue Yodel No. 9 ended up being his very first California recording. Louis played trumpet behind Rodgers on guitar and vocals as they played the blues, and it is Lil's piano who seems to keep both musicians in check. While the piece is rough around the edges, also because of limited time due to the high recording costs, it has been defined by many historians as a riveting and groundbreaking meeting of cultures somewhat ahead of its time. But it must be said that there are also many contemporary historians whose view on this song is less sympathetic. This is particularly because the criticism revolves around Rodgers' own history and formative years in the blackface minstrel shows. Thomas Brother, for example, implies that Blue Yodel No. 9 reflects the racist ideologies of the time, and Rodgers' lyrics find him impersonating a black stereotype not unlike that of the blackface shows of the time. On the other hand, Noah Batlatsky stated that with this song, Rodgers demonstrates that hillbillies and black folk have plenty of common ground. In any case, an ailing Louis Armstrong recreated the moment of recording the song with Jimmie Rodgers in 1970 on television, alongside Johnny Cash on The Johnny Cash Show. He even played the trumpet on this show, going against doctors' wishes, At the time, Cash was the cutting edge in country music, and Armstrong was promoting his new and final studio album, the somewhat bizarre Louis Country and Western Armstrong. This was also one of his final TV appearances, as he died in 1971. Well, that's all for this episode of JAZZIZ Essentials. Thank you very much for watching, and if you liked the video, I encourage you to please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. I also urge you to check out jazziz.com, our regularly updated website with lots of great content for both the newbies and the aficionados. And finally, I urge you to join me next week as we continue to explore stories about songs, artists, and events that gave rise to the music we know and love, jazz. Until the next time, stay healthy, stay safe, stay strong.